Hello class, this video today is going to introduce some of the basic functions in Google Sheets. Some of these basic functions are formulas really, formulas pertaining to how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide in Google Sheets. We're also going to introduce the formulas of how to find a minimum or a maximum number within an array of numbers, how to find the average out of a set of numbers, how to find the most occurring number out of a set of numbers. Going to introduce the if-then statement, how to use exponentials within Google Sheets, some other basic functions such as summing up an array of numbers, how to count an array of numbers, and just going on from there. So we're going to go ahead and start off, and we're going to start off with addition. So if you see my mouse right here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add B1 to C1. Now in the last video we talked about cell referencing. Cell referencing becomes very, very important whenever you're dealing with formulas in Excel. And here's why. So what we can do is we can say equals, and whenever you're typing a formula in Google Sheets, you always need to start off with an equal sign. So you say equals B1 plus C1, and that'll give you 334. 334 is the sum of 243 and 91. Now, we can actually come in here and change this number all we want, so we can say it's 81 now. And as you can see, this automatically changed to 324. The reason for that is because we have it cell referenced. If we did not cell reference it and say we had equals 243 plus 81, we'd come up with the same number. But if we wanted to change this one on the fly and say that this is now 56, this one will automatically change where this one doesn't. And another handy thing about cell referencing is you can come over here and you can drag it down. If you see my cursor, it now has that big crosshair on it. You take it, you drag it down, and now it automatically adds these two numbers together and adds these two numbers together by simply just dragging it down. Because we use cell referencing, it allowed this formula to continue. And now we're going to move on to subtraction. Again, we're going to use cell referencing for the same reason that we did in the addition section. To subtract two numbers, it's very simply say equals, highlight, say, B5, for example, because that's what we're subtracting here, minus C5. Remember, always use cell referencing. Now, as we can see that the 84 minus 92 equals negative 8. Excel will automatically calculate a negative number such as this. And you can drag it down, and we now see that B6 minus C6 equals 59. B7 minus C7 equals 10. We can do the exact same thing, only multiplying two numbers. So here we're going to say equals B9 times C9. Now whenever we're using the multiplication within Google Sheets or Excel for that matter, the multiplication sign is not an X, it's actually the asterisk. So if you have a keypad, the asterisk is generally, or a number pad, the asterisk is generally going to be above the number 9. Whereas if you do not have a number pad, it's going to be, you can do Shift 8, and that's generally what the asterisk is going to be. Ooh, don't want to do that. So we multiplied those two numbers together and it gave us that. And we can drag it down. Now remember, the good thing about cell referencing is we can come in here and change any one of these numbers on the fly and it automatically updates. So we can change that number to 2. And as you can see right here, it's automatically changing. This one we could change to 8 if we want. And it automatically updates it in the formula because of cell referencing. I cannot stress how important cell referencing is when using Excel. Now, you can also divide two numbers using Google Sheets. I'm going to use the term Google Sheets and Excel interchangeably. So whenever we're dividing two numbers, we say equals the first cell / the second cell. So the / is also the division sign for this when using Google Sheets. And here we have 200 divided by 25 equals 8. And we can actually drag this down and we say 21 divided by 5 equals 4.2. 49 divided by 61 equals 0.8033. So that's how you do the basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division in Excel. Now the next thing I want to show you is how to find a minimum number out of an array. So sometimes maybe you want to figure out you have a set of data and you want to figure out what is the absolute lowest this has ever been. So what we're going to do is to perform this function, we say equals min. And if you look right here, it has a description of it. It says min, minimum value in a numeric data set. So then you say open parentheses, and then you go in and it says value 1, value 2, and so forth. You just highlight an array of numbers. So we have an array of numbers here set up for this example. So here we say equals min B17 through B24. Close parenthesis and we press enter. Now what this is saying is the minimum value is 36. And if we look through this array of numbers, we actually see that the smallest value is 36 right here. Now what if we wanted to know what the maximum number was? Maybe say these were a set of weights off of some type of livestock. These are a number of weights, or the weights of a set of crates. And you could say, well, what is the maximum weight? So you say equals max. And as you can see right here, it shows maximum value in a numeric data set. And you can actually click right here, and it throws in that parenthesis for you. So we're going to use the same data set, and we're going to go through value 1 through the last value. And we find here that the highest number is 231. You can actually see that right here. The maximum value is 231, and if we look through this data set, we see that 231 is the highest amount. Now, what if you want to know what the average of a set of cells are? Well, that can be very easily computed by saying equals AVERAGE, or equals average. And if you look right here, it says numeric average value in a data set ignoring text. So what that is it's going to, if you were to highlight a set of numbers that had something actually typed into it, like you have the word min typed into it, it'll actually ignore that text, but it'll find the average of all the actual numeric values. So you click on that, you highlight the same data, close parentheses, press enter, and we see that the average of these numbers right here is actually 150.25. Now, what if you want to find what number occurred the most? Which one occurred most frequently out of a data set? Well, that's very easily found by using the mode formula. So what you do is you say equals MODE, and then you look and it says most commonly occurring value in a data set. Which one occurred the most? Open parenthesis. You highlight these numbers, the same data set. It produces a 197. So what we do is we look through here, and no numbers repeat themselves except for this number and this number. So there are two 197s in this data set, and every other number is a single value. There's only one of it. So there's only 136, there's only one 167, there's only 195. So what we see is that this 97 is the most occurring number out of this data set. Another very handy formula, another very handy function in Excel is the if-then statement. What the if-then statement is, it's used to find if something is true, then it shows that this is true, or if it's false, it'll show that it's false. So for example, what if we wanted to know out of these three numbers, how many of them were above 60? So to use the if-then statement, what you do is you type in equals if, and here it says if, returns value depending on logical expression. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on that, and it has logical expression. For example, if A2 equals FOO. Basically what it's doing is it's saying, for this particular data set, we're going to say if this number, if this cell is greater than 60, so that's our logical expression, comma, saying if that is true, then we're going to type in true. But if it's false, we're going to type in false. And then close parenthesis. So what we're basically saying right here is that if this number is higher than 60, it's going to put out a true. But if it's lower than 60, it'll spit out a false, which is what we see right here. This actually says false. This one says true. Now you can actually do this, instead of writing in actually true and false, you can type in another thing. So say if you wanted to say the number 1 if it's true, or you wanted to say 0 if it's false. So here we said that if this number was higher than 60, we're going to spit out a 1. If it's lower than 60, it'll spit out a 0. And we see it actually does that right here. Now there's one more way that you can go about this that I'm going to show you. If you wanted this to say an actual word, something other than true or false. Say you wanted this to say over. So if it's over 60, you want it to actually read the word over. What you're going to do is you're going to say open quotations, over, close quotations. Then right here, if it's under 60, you want it to say under, you say open quotations, under. You have to put words and quotation marks in these formulas. Google Sheets and Excel will not recognize individual words other than true and false without them being put in quotations. So if you're using an actual word such as over, under, you can use names such as John, Tyler, Casper, anything like that, then you have to put that in quotations. So what we see here is that it's over 60, so it's spit out, so it's true. This logical expression right here is true, so it's going to read over. If it's under 60, it reads under. If it's over 60, it reads over. So that's how if-then works. Next thing I'm going to show you is exponential. So what we're going to do is an exponential is basically like if this is squared or if it's to the power of 3. So whenever you're doing that, you're going to say something like equals this cell. Remember, always cell reference. And you're going to put a caret, a hat, or I think it's called a caret hat in there. It's on my keyboard, it's Shift 6. So you put that in there and you say 2. What that does is it's saying B30 to the power of 2, or B30 squared. To where now 2 squared, as we all know, is 4. So you can drag that down. 6 squared is 36. And we'll figure out that 97 squared is 9,409. But what if we wanted to know if this was like, say, to the power of 3? Or to the power of 6. Let's go to the power of 6. 2 to the power of 6 equals 64. And we can actually show that by saying 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to say equals this value times that one. And we're going to just kind of keep going. And this will actually give us the same results. But instead of having to type in 6 different numbers, you can just say 2 to the power of 6 will give you 64, which you see here and here. Now what if you want to know, say,